Hey guys, this is Steve with Cookout Coach, where we're all about trying to help you take your barbecue to the next level no matter what you need. Now, when I need to take my barbecue to the next level, I've got to go find guys like this man with me here tonight, Mr. Mike Steele from BBQ Champs Academy. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Steve. I appreciate you letting us on.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with me. I got to tell you, I first heard about BBQ Champs Academy last fall, roughly, and timing couldn't have been better because let me tell you what, I was getting beat up in ribs in the backyard division, and there ain't nothing more demoralizing than running the recipe you think is going to win and just getting your guts kicked in.
Yeah, it's tough.
It can be, but there are answers out there, and I heard an ad run for BBQ Champs Academy, Robbie Royal and Corey Mikes.
Right.
I reach out to you, and I was awestruck with what I found. You had a great platform. So that's enough of me talking about it. How about you tell us a little bit about what BBQ Champs Academy is and sort of how you came up with the idea?
Well, I started competing about 5 years ago, and I kind of did pretty well right off the get-go. My first competition I ever cooked, and it's no backyard in IBCA. You're going to cook against all of them. So, and I had a first-place brisket and 11th place rib at my very first competition. Was 40 teams at a Texas State Championship cook-off, and really I was hooked. I had a lot of fun doing it, and started cooking. Barbecue family is incredible at these barbecue competitions. I mean, we all just become very good friends, and did very well. My first year I did pretty good. My second year a little bit better. I struggled in some categories. I was strong with brisket right off the get-go. Ribs was doing really good, or not struggling. Brisket was doing good. Ribs were struggling a little bit. Chicken was kind of hit and miss. And you think you cook good barbecue. And it's just, that's the thing with IBCA judges. It is backyard people. It is the people right off the street. No certified judge. And was doing very well, man. We had a banner year in 2018. We cooked 13 competitions, and I had 12 out of 13 walks in brisket, ribs, and chicken. But I didn't see the sport growing, and I was really concerned with that. As a matter of fact, I started in 2014, and each year it just seemed like there was less and less people coming to competitions and stuff. It was tough. These guys are amazing cooks out there. Mm-hmm. And I saw the numbers declining, going to events that I had previously went to the past 2 or 3 years before. And people wanting to get out, people discouraged, and I'm watching other organizations growing pretty well, man. The hats off to the guys at SCA. They have really just taken that thing by storm.
Yes, sir.
And I was like, you know what? There's people out there struggling, and it's expensive to go to competition classes. They're sporadic. Robbie does 2 a year, and some people only are able to do 1 a year. And, it's expensive to go to one. You're going to spend a minimum $1,100 to $1,000 to $1,200, $1,300, just depending on how far you have to travel and where, if you're going to stay in a hotel, if you have to fly in and stuff like that. And I was like, it would really be neat if we had a destination place that you had world champion pit masters that teach you how to cook championship barbecue. And, I was friends with Joey Smith. Joey had just won the Houston Livestock Show Rodeo last year. And I reached out to him and said, Joey, I've got an envision on putting a website together that'll be a 100% tell-all competition cooking school. And I said, would you be interested in doing that? I said, you just became a world champion, and I think this would be a great platform. He said, man, 100%. This would be incredible if you could pull it off. So I called Robbie Royal. I had talked to Robbie 2 or 3 times over the years. I never could go to his class, and just kind of talked to him a little bit. He gave me some pointers on some ribs and stuff. And so I called Robbie, and I said, Robbie, I've got something that I'm thinking about doing, and I need to know if you're on board with this. And I pitched the same idea to him, and he was just like, man, he said, I'm telling you, he said, I've often wanted to do that, but it's just the time and the effort and that it takes to be able to film and do stuff like that. He said, I just can't do it, but man, I would love to be part of BBQ Champs Academy. So 2 calls right off the get-go. We've got Robbie Royal, winner of Barbecue Pitmasters, incredible cook, team of the year multiple times over, multiple grand champion winner. I think he's one of the only cooks to win in 4 different sanctioning bodies, and Joey Smith. And so it was really a hush hush deal. I didn't want them talking about it. I actually made them sign a non-disclaimer agreement. Don't say nothing. And so that took care of the barbecue side. And at the same time, I wanted to do something with the steaks because the SCA was growing so well. So I reached out to Shauna Rapolo. Shauna was here in my backyard. She lives here in Shreveport. She was the 2000, I think 16 and 15, 16 or 16, 17 SCA Female Cooker of the Year. And I think she runnered up her very, very first year that she ever cooked. She runnered up in the National Points Championship.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, Shauna, I'd love to have you. Pitched it to her. She said, I'm on. Talked to Alan Newton. He is a legend in the SCA. Very, very good friends with Alan. I have known him ever since I've just about started cooking in barbecue competitions. And I talked to Alan. He said, Mike, I'd be honored to be part of it. So right off the get-go, we have two championship pit masters. Robbie, a barbecue pit master winner, multiple champion. Joey, a world champion. And that was the start of it. And I was like, we're going to set this up. We're going to film. I said, I don't want no 2 and 3 year old recipes. If we're going to make this a success, we're going to make this a success by giving it all. Because if people take your class and they go out there and compete and win, they're going to do very well. We will do very well. And it gives us a great name and reputation. And so we kind of got it started. I filmed Joey, I filmed Robbie, got the state cookers done. Joey goes to the first he went to a KCBS competition about 2 weeks after I talked to him about this. And he went over to Corey Mikes and said, Corey, do you know Mike Steele? And he said, yeah, I've heard of him. I think I've seen him posting a lot and stuff. He said, man, he's got something fixing to revolutionize the barbecue competition stuff. You need to talk to him. He said, what is it? He said, I can't tell you. He said, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. He said, you need to call him. He said, no, just tell me what it is. He said, man, I can't tell you. You need to call him. And so he said, all right, give me his number. So he reached out to me, or I reached out to him. I can't remember who called who. And I called him up and he was like, I told him what it was and I made him sign a non-disclosure agreement. And he was like, that's fine. Tell me what it is. And I had him and his dad, Danny Mikes, on. And I presented the idea to him and he was like, my gosh, this is fixing to revolutionize barbecue. And he said, I'm on. So just like that, and then we started it with those 2 state cookers, Shauna and Alan, and then Joey, Robbie Royal and Corey Mikes. And we had 5. We figured that was a good amount to launch. And on June the 28th, we launched it. And this thing went viral across Facebook. It had never been done before, where you have the world's first 100% tell-all competition cooking class. And because we brought in Joey, well, he is teammates with Mark Lambert. Come on, a 6-time world champion. Absolutely. He was all on board. So they just continue to come, Then after that, I was talking to Lee Hickle. Lee Hickle was currently first place in IBCA points. He was the IBCA Cooker of the Year. I mean, just a phenomenal feat of what he did his first full year of cooking. So we had Lee, and then, with Lee, then here comes Sterling Smith. And then after Sterling Smith, we get Craig Cherry. So we just, another 2-time world champion and a lamb champion in Australia. And then the state cookers started coming. We got Ty Machado, and then all of a sudden when we get John Lindsay here at the beginning of the year, and now we got Terry Roan, so 2018 world champion. And it just, that was the envision behind it, was to get this sport to grow the competitions by giving these cookers a platform to come in and truly watch 100% tell-all competition class. I told him, I said, do not come in here if you're not going to give me what you're cooking. It's not going to be good for the company. It's not going to look good for you. Well, I got your stuff. I went out, I cooked. I didn't hit nothing. And that's just not going to be good. And so that was the whole envision behind BBQ Champs Academy, and my whole thinking of how to launch this and to get it going. And it's been a tremendous amount of work, a ton of effort, mass amounts of footage of videos that was being shot. And it's been a very huge successful business for us of helping cookers uh, take the path of, I'm not doing very well, I'm struggling, to, oh, we already have multiple grand champion winners. We have multiple people that have had top 10, top 5 finishes, not only just in the barbecue, but in the steak as well. There was a guy that took Alan Newton's steak class for the World Food Steak Championship. And he beat Alan. Yeah, I mean, he finished in the top 10 at World Food, and he had taken Alan's class about a month before just so he could learn better how to cook steak. He rolled Alan's recipe, and he had a top 10 finish. And it's been a great success. It'll help anybody, whether you're the backyard cooker or whether you are the full-blown seasoned that just wants cooker, that just wants the techniques. These guys, you know, I mean, I've had a chance to sit side by side when we're filming these and watch some amazing world champion pit masters, and every one of them have a little bit different technique, little different style, understanding of how they're going about in their thought process of doing all this. And it's amazing to sit here and watch these guys and how successful they are, because to tell you the truth, what I have seen with all of these guys, they keep it simple. Mark Lambert said, keep it simple, stupid, the KISS process. And all of them are that away. And I think it's a common ground of what they have. And that is why they've been so successful. You know, we've had so many people, well, you know, that's just one bite barbecue. Well, maybe you've read that. Maybe you've seen that on Barbecue Pitmaster. But I can tell you for a fact, because I've ate all their food, these guys don't cook one bite barbecue. Mark Lambert will tell you, you have a square box, and you got to be in the middle of that box. A little heat, a little sweet, a little savory, and a little tang. And you want to be in the center of that box. And when I take a bite, I get a little bit of all that. And Mark said it very well. I can go to Memphis in May. I can go to the American Royal. I can go to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And wherever I cook, I win, because it's simple, down the road barbecue. There is none of these guys' barbecue that I just could take 1 or 2 bites and go, that's all I can eat. I'm telling you right now, I can knock out 5 or 6 slices of brisket and 4 or 5 ribs and never even check up, because it's well-balanced barbecue. It is like backyard barbecue on steroids that is just perfectly cooked, texture-wise, everything. And we're starting to see people, we have more and more backyard people that are getting into this, and they're like, you know what? This is the best barbecue that I've ever put in my mouth. And it's because of their process. So we're helping a lot of people in Barbecue Champs. I think we've got some amazing cooks still coming. I think we're going to shock everybody with who we're going to have come out with next month. Amazing world champion. So it's going to continue to grow, and we've got a platform that's doing very, very well.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to go ahead and take Corey's class, and I've done other video classes or streaming classes, several at this point. And I don't know if you meant to do this right off the get-go or not, but the problem with those classes is it feels like you're rushed through them, and you feel like maybe there's a little something still on the table or behind that counter that you're not quite getting. But you did 2 things specifically at Barbecue Champs Academy that makes me feel a lot better about that. Number one is you're standing right next to them as a competitive cook yourself. Yeah. And anytime, literally during the entire Corey Mike's class, all 4 meets, anytime in my head I'd go, well, wait a second, what's Corey going to do right now? You would ask the question.
Yeah.
And Corey'd look up and he'd answer it. So there really wasn't an opportunity to hold anything back, because you were there as well. You need to know that answer. Now, the second thing you do that really is just the ultimate fail-safe is, I think I told you the other day, there was one question I had of Corey that you didn't ask him on film, and he didn't say specifically. It was answered, but it wasn't a specific answer, and I'm really detailed when it gets to this. As all competition cooks are, we're trying to get to the nitty-gritty, right? Well, with the Facebook page access to these pitmasters, I was able to go ask Corey exactly what he did there, and he just told me. So where other things have felt like they came up a little bit short, not they weren't good products, they just didn't feel like complete products. I really felt during the whole experience with BBQ Champs Academy, nothing was held back. Every question I had was answered. And in the rare event that there was a single question I didn't get answered, I went straight to the Pitmaster for it. And I love that. Is that something you guys meant to do from the beginning? Or was that just a happy accident?
Yeah, that was, watching a class, somebody just sitting up there in front of a camera and doing their class is the most boringest thing that you'll ever watch. It's not engaging. And that pitmaster is going to only talk about what he thinks everybody already knows about. Mm-hmm. And so when they come in here, like, what are we going to talk about? I said, you don't need to know nothing. You don't need to know the format. You just need to answer the questions. I'm going to ask you questions and ask you questions and ask you questions. And I'm going to get the information out of you that I want. Because if I was sitting in front of you taking this class, these are the questions that I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask, why do you do this? What are you looking for? What's the purpose of this? I'm there to get every bit of the information out of them that I possibly can. And they have no idea what I'm going to ask them. So that's why this is so 100%. And you're on the spot and you're going to answer the question. We have if you've noticed, we have no cuts, no edits. This is not chopped, cut, put, dot. I'm very natural in front of the camera. I've had years of drag racing. We set a couple world records in drag racing, and I was on TV a lot, ESPN, stuff like that. Doesn't faze me. And my camera crew was like, man, you're the real deal, man. You can just get up there and roll with it and have no idea what you're going to say. You just roll with it. It flows perfectly together. So I just tell the guys when they come in and first meet, we're going to start with brisket. And like, I'm just going to ask you questions and I want answers. I want to know. And if they say it and I don't completely think that I got all of it out or in a way that was understood, then you probably noticed it. Explain that to me again. What is it that you're looking for? And then we got a camera that's 3 foot in front of the meat. So, I mean, it's literally like you're watching the Food Network. I mean, it is up close. It's there. We have an overhead camera. And it was literally designed that way. I just had an envision when I started this is I'm going to get the information out of them. I'm going to ask every question that I think somebody would ask if they were sitting in front of this guy. And at the same time, show the details, the attention to details. It's the techniques. I've had customers call me up and go, I've watched Corey Mike's brisket trim 4 times now. And on the 4th time, I'm still learning something that was a little different. And I've taken 2 championship, world champion barbecue pitmasters in person. You get it 1 time and you better take some incredible notes. And by the time you get there, leave, you've forgot probably 50% of it because you get to watch it 1 time. You don't get to see all that stuff. And with your stuff, you can go back over and over and over and see it. And like you said, if there is something that I did miss, I had a forum set up for each and every one of the guys to where they can cook and show you the food. And then if there's a question, a lot of times I can answer it. I may chime in, but I always try to let the pitmasters, let them chime in. Look, what happened here? What's going on here? Just like you had a question. What was that you was trying to, here's what we was trying. Great. It got your question answered. And that to me is what makes us so unique and different. You buy one of these guys' class, you have access to a world champion pitmaster that's going to put you under his wing and help you be the absolute best barbecue cooker that you could ever possibly be, whether you're the backyard cooker or your backyard cooker that's wanting to go to competition, whatever the case may be, they're there to help you. And I think that is what makes us so successful. I've already had some, like if there's a recipe that they want to tweak a little bit, they can go on there and say, guys, I'm tweaking this recipe a little. It kind of always keeps you on the cutting edge of what they're doing and their mindset at barbecue competitions. So yeah, that was really set up that way from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it's funny. I have actually 2 buddies that took a pretty high profile class this weekend, and we were talking afterwards, and they're, I got 14 pages of notes and all this, that, and the other. I said, well, that's great. I got a class too that's doing pretty well for me. I've got 0 notes because anytime I wonder about it, I just pull it back up on my phone and watch it again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that because you're 100% right. You're gonna miss writing down. You're either gonna miss writing down something,
Yeah.
or you're gonna miss seeing something. And I can't
Right.
tell you which one's more valuable, to be honest with you.
Right. Right.
Excellent. So we've got. I don't know. I'm sure you know exactly how many pit masters you have now in state cooks, but what I'm more interested in is the breadth of sanctioning bodies you're covering. Do you know how many and which sanctioning bodies BBQ Champs Academy covers?
Pretty much well, all of them. We've got a whole host of IBCA cookers. Let's see if I can remember. We got Lee Hickle, got Joey Smith, got Craig Sherry. Those are my IBCA cookers. And Corey Mike's. Corey Mike's class, he did both.
Yes,
he
sir.
did IBCA and KCBS chicken.
Did.
He did the chicken thighs and the IBCA chicken halves that we do for IBCA chicken halves. Yeah, IBCA chicken halves, and then he did KCBS chicken thighs for KCBS. Yep. But he said my brisket and my ribs is the same, whether I cook IBCA or KCBS. That should go to show you. I mean, IBCA is just backyard people, just the people that show up at the event and they want to judge. Hey, come on in here. These are backyard people. He said, I cook the same rib at both places. It's not overly, it's just like the perfect bite. You've had them, you tasted them. And so those guys cover my IBCA. Corey covers KCBS. Make sure I got all the okay. So we got Craig Sherry, Lee Hickle, Corey covers that as well. That is my IBCA cookers. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. And then Joey Smith, IBCA, Craig Sherry. And then in KCBS, we have Sterling Smith. He did a KCBS only. Mark Lambert did KCBS. Corey Mikes did KCBS. Robbie Royal, he's a beast, man. He was like, I'm going to do it all. I mean, he did a KCBS box. He built it. He showed how to do it. He pulled it out. Then he built a Florida FBA box. And then he pulled that out. And if I recall, and I'd have to go back and look at the video, it's been so long since I shot it. I think he even did a MDN box. And
really?
He just kept building. Like, I'm going to show you. These guys are showing you every little technique and everything that they possibly do. So we pretty much will cover it all. We have got a very high-ranked team that we're talking to that's coming out of Florida. And he's going to do Florida and KCBS. So we're covering all of this. We have another cooker that's coming in, like I said here, that's going to be a big name, nationally ranked team. And he's a KCBS cooker. So we cover all of them, every one of the organizations. And the SCA, obviously, for the state cookers. We cover those as well.
The other thing that you cover, you did it in Corey's class. I'm assuming you did all the other ones. Was every time they were cooking something, you made sure to very clearly ask them, what about the backyard cooker? Yes. So I guess that's not a sanctioning body. You've still got things on BBQ Champs Academy for the backyarder, including specific recipes, right?
Yeah. Okay. So great question. When we go into this class, my goal was to grow it, right? So, how can that happen? Well, it can grow vertically with just the barbecue guys that we're already out there, giving them the tool sets, the skill sets to be able to step up their game. If they're struggling, hey, I can go take one of these guys' class. It'll help me out. And we're going to talk about that. I hope you asked me about that, because I was telling you about that the other day, of how the whole vision behind it was to help these people. And so yes, the seasoned pro, the guy that's doing good but struggling a little bit in certain areas, it's for him. This will help those guys stay in the sport. But how do we get the backyard cooker to come into this? Well, we take the backyard cooker that he can go in, he can watch these classes. He doesn't have to start guessing of where he needs to be on this and that. We show all of it. This whole way, you can't tell tenderness. Yeah. The way I show it, I promise you, we'll show you how to tell tenderness. The way that we video this stuff, it's very specific, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can show you what that tenderness is within a degree or two of being absolutely perfect on every category: brisket, ribs, pork, butt, and chicken. And So it allows you to have that skill set to be able to come in if you're the backyard cooker and say, okay, I can go take one of these guys' classes. I can watch it. I can watch it. I can watch it over and over. I can nail it down, and I can go take that and I could go to a competition and I could do very, very well. At the same time, we have a lot of people out there that, they're watching all the YouTube videos and they're seeing all these different things. And, I mean, they say this is good barbecue, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But is it really as good a barbecue as a world champion? Well, people's going to say, oh, well, it's you can't eat that. Well, I'll beg the difference. I will tell you right now, these guys that we have do not cook some kind of out of bounds barbecue that you can only eat one or two bites. None of them. They all stay inside that little box that I was talking about just a minute ago. So for the backyard cooker that wants to step up his game, well, when we take a brisket, I will have the guy. So you show me how we're going to trim this for the backyard. What would you do? Minimum trim to get this off, little trim here. Let's do this. Let's get this ready like you are going to give me a killer trimmed up backyard brisket with minimum waste, but I want it perfect for like if you was doing a competition without doing the separation and stuff. So that's how we start the class. And when we get to that finished product for a trim on a backyard brisket, we say, okay, you paid for the class. If you want to go ahead and see how he does it, go ahead and watch the rest of the video. If not, just you can stop right here. This is all you need to do. We'll see you on the next video. And so we do that on brisket. Ribs, pretty much what these guys do for the backyard and a competition, other than maybe cutting off a few flabs at the end where there's no bones. We'll leave that on there for the backyard. Say, hey, this is good eating. But for a competition, I just want to trim it up. Give me an 8 or 9 bone rack. And that's about it. So the trim on the ribs, the trim on the chicken, all the KCBS guys that cook chicken thighs or legs, some of them did either or. We also made them cook chicken quarters or chicken halves in Corey's case, because he was doing IBCA. So you can see how they're cooking just a backyard chicken, a chicken quarter, a chicken leg, something like that. You can see how they're going about cooking that, and they'll show you a simple trim for that. So the chicken is kind of for both backyard and competition. And the brisket, same way, a backyard trim and a full-blown competition. Ribs, pretty much simple. There's not a lot of top secret stuff with what they're doing on ribs. And the pork butt, the same way. Hey, here's how we're going to trim this pork butt for the backyard. Now let's take it to the next level for full-blown competition. So we show the backyard cooker how to do that. We don't want to waste a lot of food, but I can tell you this, when you use their recipes and trim it out, if it's going to be for the backyard, when you cook their recipes, it is mind-blowing, amazing. You don't have to guess. Well, people say, well, barbecue's all about fun and make it in your own. It is. I agree with that. But you can also take what these guys do and step it. Okay, you can make it your own and put little tweaks to it after you see their process, because understand, these guys go cooking American Royals, 500, 600 teams, first place, Robbie Royal, rib, Corey Mikes, chicken. I mean, I could just keep going on and on. They all have multiple first place wins. They're beating the best barbecue people in the world, some of the best teams in the world. That shows a level of cooking that just would blow the average person's mind.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about that. I know you had one of these questions for me about somebody that's taking these classes, and we're going to talk about that. But yes, this class is designed for the backyard cooker to cook the most amazing barbecue that they've ever had. But at the same time, perfect this, what these guys are doing. Go find a competition, jump out there in it. And you know what? You may be the next world champion. And once you start getting into this and you consistently do it and get in the grind of doing it, you very well could be a grand champion, a world champion one day. And I know you'll win a grand champion, because we'll talk about that here in a minute. So,
well, absolutely. We're going to move right ahead. But first, before I do that, there's a special set of recipes on your website that you are currently giving away a free class for. Is that right?
Yeah. One of the things that we wanted to do, we thought it would be really cool. After we kind of got most of all our guys done, I called them all up and I said, guys, let's do some backyard recipes. I'm talking about some throwdown killer backyard recipes, fast-paced classes they're pretty quick, detailed, showing you what to do, how to cook it, pulling it off. We don't show it all in the grill and cooking it the whole time. We put it on the grill. We'll tell you to do this, do this, do this, rotate it every 15 minutes for 1 hour. And when it hits this temperature, it's done. We'll show you what that temperature is. And the classes are designed to be 25 to 35 minutes long, but they're very accurate to how you go about cooking. And I said, I want to get you guys in here. So we had 4 world champion pit masters, and we had Joey Smith, Mark Lambert, Craig Sherry, Sterling Smith, and we had our IBCA 2019 Cooker of the Year, Lee Hickle. And we had all 5 of them here at one time. And some of them knew each other. Some of them had met each other for the first time. And to get 5 guys cooking championship backyard recipes. And I mean, we did like beef ribs and prime rib and moink balls and bacon wrapped meatloaf and Scottish eggs and bacon wrapped pork tenderloin stuffed with cream cheese. And we did some smoked beans. We did Craig Sherry cooked the most amazing ham and a port wine brined ham. And then he did this turkey, and he had one of the most amazing techniques and secrets that I have never, ever seen before on that turkey. And so it ended up, Mark Lambert did a true, authentic tacos al pastor, where he shaved the pork butt, made the true, authentic spices using all the Mexican peppers and stuff like that, pulverizing them, making them a powder. He did tacos al pastor. He did a Peking duck with an orange marmalade drizzle. And when these guys started cooking it, Steve, I'm telling you, they were not going to let the other guy outdo them on cooking. I mean, it was like a competition within these guys that when I cook this food, it is going to blow your mind. And we cooked 20 recipes. It took us a day and a half to film it. And I was running from one guy, and I'd have him over here prepping. I'd go over here. He'd have his station over here. He was prepping. All right, you got everything cut? Yeah, okay, come in here, put it on the set. Because we didn't want to just show everything being cut. So, okay, I've got this. I'm going to chop this up here. And he would do maybe 1 pepper. And he may have had to do 8 or 9 of them for the class. But he would show you how to do one instead of just sitting there watching all of them. And we cooked everything on backyard grills. I said, $10,000 smokers, out of here. We cooked on a Green Mountain Grill pellet cooker. We cooked on a $59 Old Smoky 22-inch grill. We cooked on a 22-inch WSM smoker. So like the ham and the turkey and the prime rib and the beef ribs. I actually did Texas-style beef ribs and a prime rib. We cooked that on that. And it was just simple backyard grills. And we did a complete fire management video that's part of any one of the classes. We include that free so you can understand all the terminology that we're talking about, direct, indirect, the type of grills. If we cook this on a pellet cooker, where here's how you could cook this on an Old Smoky, or if you had a Weber kettle. We go into all the details of how to do all that. And it was an amazing class to film, to have all these world champion pit masters under one roof at one time. It was a lot of fun. And 20 recipes for $99. And you own these recipes. This is not a renewal membership. You buy it. It's a one-time purchase. It's $99 and you own them. You can go back and watch them as many times as you want. And we've even got them as individual classes. They're $19.99. So it's 20 classes at $20 a pop. It's $400. You're getting them for $99. We actually ran a special this month. We took the $19.99. We reduced them down to $6.98. It was National Barbecue Month. It was just kicks off the season. And then today we launched a free class. We got so many people like, man, how good are these classes? We'll show you how good. We don't have nothing to hide. We'll show you. So you can go to BBQ Champs, bbqchamps.com, and go to the Championship Backyard Barbecue section. Scroll down to the bottom, and it has all 20 individual classes listed. Pick out any one that you want. Add it to the cart. Go to your cart. Enter coupon code free class. Coupon code free class.
Is that all caps or?
It don't matter. Just free class. And go through your checkout procedure. Put your email so we can email you the link to get into your class. And hit place order. It's no credit card information is needed. No, nothing. It's just a free class. It's a complimentary class that we're going to give you. and you pick out any one you want and it's yours. And we've had a ton of people today. We already had people that bought the class, that got the class free, that they've already, this morning, they're already in here they bought the backyard barbecue class. You know, they're just like, one guy's like, these classes are absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
And he said the quality of the video, everything is shot in 4K ultra high definition. But we only stream it in 1080 because just the bandwidth nobody could hardly run them. So, but it's a professional studio that shoots all of our stuff. We have, like the competition classes are way more in detail than what the backyard classes. We try to make those very simple. And we didn't do the overhead camera. We did have the close-up camera. We had some head-held cameras when we was kind of live shooting it on the fly with our backyard classes, but none of that it's nothing like that in the competition classes. They are overhead camera, a camera that's 3 foot, a camera that we talk to when we go outside to set up brisket, ribs, pork, butt, chicken. We have cameras that are right there. But these are a fun class, a lot of killer recipes on here. bbqchamps.com. Go to the Championship Backyard Barbecue. Click that link, go down to the bottom, 20 recipes, pick any one you want, add it to the cart, hit the checkout, put coupon code free class. You got a free class. It'll email you a link. It gives you a username and a password. You go in, you put that in, change your password to something that you can remember, and you go right to your cooking class and you can watch it. And the fire management class is right above it. So it's the fire management, and right below that will be your cooking class. And we always encourage you to watch the fire management class so you'll know the techniques that we're talking about when we're cooking in this.
That is awesome.
It's pretty cool. It is.
I already see a couple guys in here getting ready to jump on that.
I'm going to tell you one thing real quick. The bread pudding Sterling did. I'm not a big bread pudding person. It was the best bread pudding I ever ate in my life. And we did some cool stuff in it. Craig Sherry owns Texas Pepper Jellies. I'm sure everybody probably has used that product at some point in time. He's one of our cooks on here. He did the backyard stuff with us as well. And I was eating it, and I told Sterling, I reached back behind me because I've got a shelf with all this, and I reached right behind me, and I grabbed this Texas Pepper Jelly, and it was the raspberry or the berry medley, and it was piping hot, and I took a teaspoon of that, and I threw it in it. I stirred it up, and I took a bite of it, and I started just beating the snot out of Sterling. He's like, man, you're going to bruise me. I was like, it took it from like a bread pudding to a bread pudding on steroids and almost made it taste like a cobbler. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Then I grabbed another one and I tried another one. And I think, I don't remember which one it was. And it was so good. And I was like, man, you could just take this and have 4 or 5 pepper jellies and just make it different every time that you take a bite of it. So there were some amazing recipes that was in there. I think people are going to love them. I certainly encourage all your listeners, go out, go get you that free class. I promise you're going to enjoy them, and they will help you cook some amazing, just backyard stuff, not brisket, ribs, pork, butt, and chicken, just some really unique recipes.
Yeah. I've got 2 guys in the chat right now who I happen to know because, well, we go back and forth competing with each other all year. Mm-hmm. They want to know, and they're KCBS guys. I just happen to know this. Yep. They want to know if you were going to recommend to them a chicken class, which chicken class for KCBS would you recommend?
Oh, my gosh. Don't do that to me.
The people want to know.
Oh, I get this asked a lot. I just would tell, it depends on where they're at. I think, what region they're at. Corey Mikes does amazing. Sterling's, that's a loaded question. I'll tell you this. Here's what I'll tell you. You can go buy one of them and let me just say this. I will say right now about 76% of all the people that have bought our classes have come back and they have bought multiple classes. I ain't talking about 1 or 2. I've got guys that have bought every all access class I have. I've got some that's bought them for steak and the barbecue. I've got guys that'll buy this and they'll come back and buy this. They'll buy that because what they end up seeing is these guys that are taking all these multiple classes, they're learning so many amazing techniques that they can take this guy's class, this guy's class, this guy's class, and they can start taking, I can take what he does here, what this guy did something a little different here, what this guy did something a little here, and they can make it their own, that you'd be competing against these guys and you got the best of three masterminds. Who's the best? Man, do you like to cook chicken legs? Well, Mark Lambert and Sterling Smith cooked chicken legs. Mark's were amazing. Sterling, goodness gracious. I think he's got 8 or 9 perfect 180s in chicken. Okay. That's like amazing. And he does chicken legs. Thighs, man. Corey Mike's was amazing. Robbie Royal's chicken thigh was mind-blowing amazing. So if you like to cook legs, you can't go wrong with Sterling's or Mark's. Sterling's got an amazingly impressive record in chicken. Robbie and Corey had amazing chicken thighs. I mean, amazing. Corey, I think, is a world champion at the American Royal in chicken, if I recall. So I think he's won America. I think he had a first place chicken at the American Royal. He had a first place rib at the American Royal. Corey Mike's, he's a bad dude. You know, he cooks a lot of KCBS. So Robbie, man, his chicken thighs was like so moist and juicy. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. So that's a loaded question. I mean,
yeah. And I want to save you right now because Lee Hickles in the chat.
Hey, Lee.
He said he liked his chicken. I gotta let him know. I set you up. I said these were KCBS guys.
Yeah, Lee. Oh man, I need to tell Lee Hickles' story. Let me tell you about Lee Hickles' half chicken. I'm sitting here eating it, and his chicken was good. And I went back and I got a second bite of it, and I was on camera. And I was like, I was saying to myself, this chicken is so good. And I looked down at my arm and I had goosebumps. The hair was standing up. And Lee looked at me and he was like, you got goosebumps? And I was like, well, I can't hide it now. And I stuck my arm out in front of the camera and I was like, Lee Hickles' chicken's so good, it gave me goosebumps. But he's a half chicken. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. These guys' food is so crazy good. It's just amazing. So I think what the answer to your guys' question, I'm just telling you right now, man, you can buy one class for $249. You can get the second class, same pitmaster, $150, $150, and $150. So you can get all of them. If you buy all of them to the all access package, then you get $100 off. So $249, $150, $150, $150 would be $699. If you buy the bundle, all of them, you do two things. Number one, you get $100 off. And number two, then you get access to that private Facebook page, because we can't do a private Facebook page if you only bought one class and you're seeing everything that's cooked in there. So I would say pick one. If you're just struggling in chicken, pick one. If you're a thigh guy, I would highly recommend get Corey's and Robbie's. Get Corey's, cook it, get Robbie's, cook it. And then if you want to step it up to see a little different technique, because they were very different in their technique and approach of how they prepped them, mind-blowing. It's just amazing. You can learn two different techniques. One of them may be easier for you than the other. So if you like cooking legs, Sterling and Mark Lambert is your guys, and you can't argue with Sterling. I mean, 8 or 9 perfect 180 scores in chicken. Come on. I mean, and he's got his Luton Booty chicken rub that he uses. It's amazing at what he's got. So
absolutely.
I hope that helps. That's a loaded question for me when I have people ask me that. So
yeah, I'll just go ahead and say these are my buddies that I compete against, and I'm here to tell them I took Corey's class, and there were some curveballs in there I would have never thought about doing. And if they're not coming with it this year,
yeah, I'm telling you. That's the difference when you have these guys. They've got some techniques and some tricks that are unbelievable. Robbie's got some really cool techniques that he does with chicken. Corey's got techniques that they're all a little different. And man, I'm just telling you, it's crazy, so.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about what's got to be one of the funnest things about running BBQ Champs Academy, and that is, you want to share with the group here, like, what's your favorite testimonial that you've got back from somebody who's taken some of these classes? You can share a couple if you'd like.
Okay. Wow. Where do I start? First of all, go to bbqchamps.com. Look over on the right. We got a review section. You hit that, it'll drop down. Man, we've got, I don't know, probably 18, 20 reviews. Everybody is just ranting and raving of how much they learn. So it's a testimonial to what we've done. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the true testimonial, and I knew I had something that was a success right from the get-go. When we launched this thing, June the 28th last year, we had 15 classes that was bought the first night. It was crazy. 4 days later, I had several of those people that were already back buying more classes. And then as it got through the first 2 weeks, we had several of those guys that came back, and now they've done about multiple classes again. And like I said, we are at about a 75 or 76% rate of people that have come back and have bought multiple classes. We saw that right off the get-go, that we knew we had something that was very special. It is a very good experience. It's not like some of it may be out there that gives you a bad experience. You don't get all the information. You wonder if everything. I can tell you this. It is a very good experience. It's very educational. I had a customer tell me yesterday, he said, your stuff is so informative, and you ask all the questions and you get all the details and you cover everything. And I think that has really helped us. So, the testimonials that we have is because these guys have bought multiple classes, and they're just like, these are the legit deal. Some of my most memorable testimonials, and I never call out anybody. So as I say these names, it is only because they have made it public, because you remain anonymous at BBQ Champs. We really do appreciate all you guys out there that are telling us this. It helps us, but I understand if you don't want to do that, we understand. But, Bill Manning, he has taken every single class that I have. He got Joey Smith's IBCA. He bought Joey Smith. He's bought all access on everything. And he bought Joey Smith. I think he was struggling a little bit in chicken. He cooked Joey Smith's chicken. He bought it. He cooked it, practiced it, went to the competition. First competition he goes to after taking Joey's class, first place chicken. It was his first ever first place chicken that he had. He told me that yesterday. We was talking, and he posted that on our Facebook page, which we took some of them Facebook posts and put them on our website. So he's had some, probably one of the most memorable ones was Dwayne Anderson. Dwayne lives about 60, 70 miles from me. I live in Shreveport, Louisiana. He's over in East Texas. And Dwayne he actually bought Corey Mike's class 2 days or 3 days after we launched it on a Friday night. I think he bought it on a Sunday night or a Monday morning. And Larry had been cooking about 1.5 years. And I'd seen him a lot at competitions, didn't see him walking a whole lot. He would probably do, 8, 9 competitions a year, somewhere around there. I could be off a few. And he wasn't walking a whole lot. And he bought the classes. And I recognized him, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, that's Larry. It's Dwayne Anderson. I was like, cool, man. That's awesome. That was like on Sunday or Monday. The following, I think it was on a Monday morning. That Friday coming up, and it was 4th of July weekend, because we launched it the week before the 4th of July weekend. We went to a barbecue competition over in Rusk, Texas. I was there. Craig Sherry was there. Philip Breeden, who's now the #1 guy right now in IBCA. He was there, and Larry cooked Corey Mike's chicken, ribs. We don't do pork butt in IBCA. He did not get a chance to cook the brisket because he just didn't have enough time in 4 days to get a brisket and do everything. And I'm sitting there at awards, and they start calling out, and he had a 8th place chicken. And I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted to get up and jump up and down for joy because I just watched this guy do it, take Corey's class, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything because, I didn't want to say that he took the class. Sure. So then they go through ribs, and I'd be dadgum. He has a 2nd place rib. And I'm like, Man, I'm beaming at this point. I'm like, man, this is phenomenal. This guy just got the class and he's already got a second place rib and he's got 8th place chicken. He didn't walk in brisket. I was like, dang, he didn't get a brisket, but I think he finished 3rd or 4th overall. He made $600. He paid $5.99 for the class.
Paid for the class.
He was up $1 and he said, so after it was over, I walked, I said, man, I walked over to him and all the guys that we hang out with was all together. And I said, man, I kind of kept it quiet. And I was like, man, congratulations. You don't understand how beaming happy I am for it. He said, oh man, you ain't got to be quiet about it. I done told all these guys that I took Corey Mike's class. I was like, are you kidding me? And he said, oh yeah, I told all of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was just jubilant. The whole reason that I started BBQ Champs Academy was to help the guy that wasn't doing that good. And Larry, just a flat tell, there's actually a testimonial that we put on Facebook. You can roll down probably a month or two, probably 2 months ago. And we caught up to him at a barbecue competition. And, he said, man, I took every YouTube video out there on how to cook brisket, ribs, all that stuff. I watched every one of them and I would get them and I'd go cook them and I never did good. Now, these are like the best ones that he could find on YouTube, which are, guess what? Backyard cookers, right? Some of them proclaimed good cookers. And you go to an IBCA competition. Well, what's IBCA? Well, guess what? That's local judges. We have no idea who we're going to cook. Hey, you want to cook? I mean, judge, come on. Hey, come on. We need judges. Get in here. Sit down at the table. Here's what you do. Taste it, smell it, aroma, this, that, score it 1 to 10. I have no idea who we're cooking for. It is, to me, 100%. That is a backyard judge. You better give them good backyard barbecue. You want to win an IBCA? Cook good backyard barbecue. You start amping this stuff and make it something that it's not, I promise you, you won't do very good. And so that was his testimony. He said, man, I took all that stuff and I didn't do good. First competition, a 2nd and a 8th place. He goes to his next competition. He got a chance to get the brisket. He had a 5th place brisket, a 9th place rib, had a 14th place chicken. He said, man, I blew the chicken apart. It was like 208 degrees. I still had a 14th place. He goes to his very next competition. Now, this is his 3rd one. And I don't remember exactly the order, but I think it was a 1st place rib, a 1st place chicken, a 3rd place, a first, a 2nd, and a 4th. I think the 4th was on either a brisket. And that one, they actually did a pork butt for IBCA. He walked in all 4, a 1st, a 2nd, and a 4th. He got his first grand champion. At this point, he's up $1,900. He goes the 3 weekends later to his next competition. He drops off all 3 tickets in the top 10. And he's just been slaying it. Got his first grand champion. He cooked one against us earlier in the year. I don't remember how well he did. He had, I think, 1 top 10. He goes to another one, has a top 10, goes to the 3rd competition this year. He gets over there, kicks my butt, has his first ever 1st place brisket. I think he had a 2nd place and a 3rd place, and he got his 2nd grand champion. So here's a guy that had cooked now, I think, about 8 competitions. Just about every one of he's been in the top 10 and 2 grand champions. And I don't know, I would say by now he's probably up well over $3,500, and he paid $5.99 for the class. That's probably one of my most amazing testimonials because I just have people that don't tell me. I know guys that have taken Corey Mike's class. I won't say a name, but they went to a competition that Corey Mike's was cooking at a KCBS competition. They beat Corey. They got grand champion. Corey finished 3rd overall. And it was like, Corey was like, man, you kicked my butt with my own recipes. So, I'll give you another. Lee Hickle, you still online? I mean, here's you one. Lee cooked at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo this year. He knows of at least 2 people that was there that took his all access class. Lee thought he was going to like, okay, they're cooking my exact recipe. Lee goes in and makes a little tweak on his recipe. I think it was on his ribs. Those 2 guys that took his class, both were in the top 10 in ribs at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, 350 teams. And I think Lee finished like 40th place or something in ribs. And he was like, "Gummit, I should have just cooked I should have cooked my same recipe. And he was just trying to tweak it a little, just to make it a little different. So he wasn't cooking against his same guys, but
sure.
It just goes to show. And he was like, you know what? It's a testimonial to what we do. And it's over and over. I could go on with so many people that I know that have done very well taking these classes. You know, the drag racing, you know, it's when the rubber meets the road, we're going to find out how good it is. When the proof's in the pudding. I can tell you right now, we've got multiple people that have done incredibly well. I have got a backyard person that has not got into competition, but he took the backyard class. He fell in love with it. He said, I want to know how these guys cook brisket, rib, pork, butt, chicken. He bought Sterling Smith's. He was blown away at how good it was. Then he turned around, then he bought Craig Sherry's All Access. And then that was probably within the last 3 months. And then in the last month, he's taken Alan Newton and John Lindsay's steak class. Now, this is a backyard person. He said, man, I am blown away. You want to find him? His name is James McMillan. Go read his reviews that he's got. You want to know? There it is right there. He'll tell you. He's a backyard cooker. And he said, this is the most amazing barbecue that I've ever cooked in my life. And I thought I could cook good barbecue. You know, everybody says, well, you know, why would you waste all that money? Why would you waste that when you can learn to do it yourself? You can do that. It's very expensive. Brisket, one of our guys that we cook against, he looked at a select brisket today, $9.98 a pound, $100 for a select brisket. That's a lot of money to waste. You can go waste a lot of money, or you can go take a class that these guys are going to elevate your game to a level that you never thought was possible. You didn't have to waste the money. And then if you want to tweak it and make it your own little small tweaks, if you think you can make it better, let me try it. So that's the testimonials. And I'll say it once again, when you have 75, 76% of the people buying your classes over and over and over, that tells me right there, the recipes are amazing. So Absolutely. That's the testimonial in its own.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we are closing in on an hour here, and this has just been a blast to talk about. You were not kidding when you said you feel just fine in front of the camera. You have been an absolute blessing to have on here as a guest, sir.
Yeah. But I don't know if we got through all the questions. We probably still had a couple others.
That should be jobs to come back later.
Yeah, we'll do that. I tell you right now, I think we're going to start doing this BBQ Champs live. We're thinking about starting this next week. I think we're going to probably do it on a Tuesday night at 6:30. So if you don't mind me giving that little plug to your viewers, we'd love to have them watching us. And does that compete? When is your show normally? Is it Mondays or Tuesdays?
We're still pretty fluid, but I haven't locked it in yet. So
yeah, good.
You know, no problem.
So and we may end up getting you on BBQ Champs, and
I'd love to come
and
talk
help
about
promote
it.
you, because we've got a huge following. We've got a lot of customers. Our backyard people are just thrilled to death with what they're learning. We've had a lot of backyard people that have actually started coming over now and buying these all access classes. And every one of them are just like, I'm blown away. I'm just, what I thought I learned on YouTube was nothing compared to this. So, but it's been a fun journey. We've got some really good stuff coming. And I'd love to be back. Maybe we can finish this up. If you have some other questions, if anybody has any questions out there for me, you can always send me a message on Facebook, BBQ Champs Academy, and I'll be glad to answer. Shoot me an email, info@bbqchamps.com, info@bbqchamps.com, and I'll answer any questions that you have and try to guide you in the direction. But Steve, I appreciate you, man. I mean, I'm glad that Corey's class, you told me just a minute ago, I was like, man, I cooked the best rib I've ever put in my mouth today, and you can't wait to get out and try it. So
yes, sir. Yeah. So before we get off here, everybody, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I don't even care if you follow me. Just head over there and take a look at the picture of the rib I posted today. It is by far the most perfect competition rib I've ever cooked.
Yeah.
To the point where it broke my heart that I couldn't have a
it's terrible. You got one that's so good. So yeah. And if they're following you, I mean, follow us. We're on BBQ Champs Academy on Facebook, BBQ Champs Academy on Instagram. And we'd love to have everybody following us and kind of see some of the stuff. Our BBQ Champs Live will be next Tuesday at 6:30 Central. So I don't know who we're going to have on first, probably Robbie Royal or Mark Lambert. I'm going to see if we can we're going to have all these world champion pitmasters on here kind of talking about some of the stuff, getting their minds. The whole thing is going to be pick the mind of the pitmaster. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yep.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. I really do.
All right,
appreciate
guys.
everybody joining in tonight.
That is BBQChampsAcademy.com. Get over there, use promo code FREECLASS, get that free backyard class, see what it's all about. And hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight. Until next time, y'all take it easy.